This is Southern Cross News with Joe Palmer.
Good evening, everyone. Tasmania's two major political parties are drawing their battle lines in what's expected to be a tight race to the March election. The Liberal and Labor teams have been out on the hustings on the first full day of the campaign. Our state political reporter Jacqueline Robson has been following the day's events and joins us now live. Good evening, Jack. It seems to be full steam ahead.
That's right, Joe. The parties haven't wasted any time delivering their messages to Tasmanian voters. Both Labor and Liberals have clearly positioned themselves on key issues today. Labor is making promises in the health sector with new measures for regional patient travel, while the Liberals are focusing on jobs, including the relocation for some public service positions. On the job with a promise to increase Tasmania's workforce.
This is laying the foundations of our economy.
New cuts to payroll tax hoping to encourage job creation for small and medium businesses.
We will now have the most competitive payroll tax system out of all of the states.
The Liberal pledge is to reduce the tax by more than 2%, those businesses paying between $1.25 million and $2 million in wages to have a 4% payroll tax rate.
We estimate that if just a quarter of the businesses that are paying payroll tax were to take on one additional employee as a result of this, that would lead to 650 more jobs.
If we go to a state which is going to look after us and make it easy to do business and cheaper to do business, we've got to move there. And not only are we going to move there, we're going to look for, we need people to work for us to help us make the money.
Labor is yet to release its complete jobs package, pushing for a regional focus.
We've seen full-time employment go backwards in the state, which the government won't even talk about. And we see a divide between north and south, and the economic growth in the north of the state is a particular concern of the Labor Party.
Changes to the public service are being pitched to address that divide. The Liberals want to relocate 100 primary industry and biosecurity staff to Launceston and Devonport to further agricultural success.
A positive step further by having more personnel closer to the action and closer to our farmers and fishers who generate the economic wealth for Tasmania.
But it's being described as pork barrelling, unions urging any change to be operationally led, a similar move in the Minerals Department labelled a disaster.
You spent millions of dollars in doing that. We've lost good people, we've had vacant positions, and effectively the industry hasn't been served as well as it could have been if the government hadn't made such a political decision.
Political decisions that are only just starting. Jacqueline Robson, Southern Cross News.
Meanwhile, Labor is pushing forward with its health promises, pledging to trial a free hospital patient transfer bus on the West Coast if it wins power. But as the opposition tries to rebuild the region's trust, locals say there are more commitments they'd like to see made.
Taking their campaign west to meet Tullah locals.
Yeah, we choose to live here, but that doesn't mean we should go without.
Labor promising West Coast residents better access to the state's hospitals if it wins the March 3rd election.
We're committing a trial for 2 years of a free patient transport service between the West Coast and the state's major northern hospitals to make it easier for patients to get to their appointments and to get home again.
CARLEY says during her last pregnancy, she was transported to the Northwest Regional 9 times. Once after being discharged, she had to stay at a nearby hotel as she had no way to get home.
Financially, it doesn't help. It's really hard. So for my family, we just really don't even want to get sent to hospital. It's like, oh God, stay healthy, because you just don't even want to go there.
Under Labor's initiative, free 10-seater buses would run daily, including on weekends, taking patients as far as Launceston and back again. The 2-year trial would cost $250,000, but the Liberals say they already offer hospital transport.
We have established patient transport networks in the northwest to support patients to get the health care they need. So we are doing these things.
Buses would start transporting patients from West Coast towns to the state's hospitals as early as July, if Labor is elected. But the opposition leader knows she has a lot of work to do to win the region's votes.
I have no doubt that the voters of Braddon felt very disappointed with Labor when we entered a partnership agreement with the Greens. We won't be doing that again. We've learnt from the past.
Voters say they want more commitments than just health.
More than anything, we need internet reception. We run a business here. We actually run two businesses, and we have to either stand out on the road to get a mobile call or stand in the corner with our nose against the wall.
I'd just like to see the government, whichever it is, to keep the bus service going on the West Coast, because it's very important, because we're very isolated people.
Monica Dadson, Southern Cross News.
Poker machines are shaping up as a major campaign issue in the lead up to the election. The hospitality industry has launched a blitz that will see billboards and posters put up across the state, attacking Labor's policy to remove machines from pubs and clubs.
Standing on a prominent corner of the Brooker Highway, this federal group-owned property sending a message to voters about anti-pokies policies.
This would devastate the Vantage business. So in the hotel side of the business, we employ 250 people. I would estimate that we would lose 200 people straight away.
The hospitality industry is ramping up its campaign against Labor. If elected, the party has pledged to remove gaming machines from pubs and clubs, restricting them to casinos.
We know that if we can keep that $110 million that's lost every year in poker machines in our pubs and clubs here in Tasmania, rather than going interstate, as a large portion of it does, it will create jobs in the local economy.
While Labor says it would offer up to $55 million for the transition, the hospitality industry says it would still have devastating impacts.
We talk about mums and dads that are going to be affected if they lose their job. Young uni students are going to lose their job, whether it's their 5 hours a week or their 35 hours a week, they're going to lose their livelihood or part of their livelihood if they lose their job.
What we've done is put the public interest before vested interests and put the public first when it comes to this debate in Tasmania.
With the issue set to heavily feature in the campaign, the Greens are pushing for political donations to be declared ahead of the election.
Tasmanians will go to the polls on the 3rd of March not knowing which corporate invested interests have donated how much to which political party.
The Greens themselves have received substantial donations in the last 2 years. Millionaire environmentalist Graham Wood donated $130,000 and Duncan Turpie, reportedly a high-end gambler, donated $25,000. But the Greens deny this buys influence.
Absolutely not. People who donate to the Greens donate to us because they want to see a strong voice for this island and its people in the Parliament.
Under federal disclosure laws, other party donations won't be revealed until next February. Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
A man in his late 70s has been seriously injured in a tractor incident. Police say the man was attempting to move cattle on a private property in Geeston. It's understood he got off the tractor and was then run over by it. He's being treated at the Royal Hobart Hospital and is in a serious condition. Well, if you were struggling to sleep last night, you certainly weren't alone, with some places around the state recording their highest maximum temperatures in years. Campania had the top, reaching 40 degrees yesterday, while new annual records were set in several parts of the northwest.
We broke records both Saturday night and Sunday night. Saturday night we mostly broke them about the north coast, but also down the east. Sunday night we broke records right around Tasmania.
But luckily the worst of it is over, with a cold front crossing the state this afternoon, bringing rain and cooler conditions. Biosecurity Tasmania has held a public forum in a bid to ease business owners' concerns about recent fruit fly detections. While most were pleased with the level of communication in dealing with the potentially devastating situation, some were disappointed.
Andrew Hartree and his wife Caroline moved to the state from Western Australia several years ago. Owning the cherry shed, they rely on the Clean Green Tasmanian brand, but say they were not formally informed of the seriousness of the fruit fly situation by Biosecurity Tasmania until today, despite it being detected on an Acacia Hills property several days ago.
We're obviously, or we consider ourselves, a fairly significant player in the retail market for cherries. Probably would have been good, especially since we're right here on the highway, for us to have been advised exactly what was going on with the issue.
Biosecurity Tasmania officially informed the popular business of the 15-kilometre control zone today, which is expected to be in place for a few months. It's a move seeing the Hartrees suffer financially, down 75% in sales this weekend, as cherries bought must be consumed within the zone. In Stony Rise and Newtown, Minister for Primary Industries Jeremy Rockcliffe addressed concerned business owners, acknowledging the anxiety of those on the front line. The Minister assuring us everything is under control.
There's been no adult flies captured in traps, and so the response from the hard-working team at BIOSECURITY Tasmania has been outstanding.
Affected business owner Marcus Burns says he's confident all is being done to stop the spread.
So the 15k zone is regarded as a source of infection, and we're currently isolated from the rest of Tasmania, which is deemed to be fruit fly free.
The growers have been very responsible, and that is excellent given the challenging circumstances they face, and the public also have been very responsible and aware as well.
Jessie Gilmour, Southern Cross News.
Australia's most southern planetarium is this week marking 50 years of stargazing. It's one of just 7 fixed centres across the country, taking pride in teaching people of all ages how small our planet really is.
At age 8, Jonty Glover is just one of hundreds of children taking part in a range of activities to mark the occasion, learning just how small Earth really is.
It makes me feel a little bit funny of how some of the big planets make this planet feel small, like sometimes the planet is safe to me and sometimes it isn't, and it's really amazing.
Today is particularly special for this trio. Mum Libby visited the first Launceston Planetarium as a child 20-odd years ago.
I just thought it was amazing to be sitting, watching the night sky up above me. So yeah, it was fabulous, still remember it.
Something else Libby also remembers is passionate planet guru Martin George. With the planetarium as it's evolved over the last 5 decades, he has taken his fair share of lessons since 1968. Around 5,000 in fact. This week he's happy to share his role as part of celebrations marking 50 years.
On Tuesday we have Josh Richards, who is the Mars 1 candidate. On Wednesday, Tanya Hill, who's the director of the Melbourne Planetarium. And on Friday we have Mark Doldig, an astronomer from Hobart, talking about the particles that are passing through us all the time.
The shows take around 60 people, but it is first come, first serve.
Planetariums all around the world are getting increasingly popular though, and the number of people each year that visit planetariums around the world is of the order of more than 20 million a year.
In our galaxy alone, there are more than 100 billion stars, but only 3,000 of those are visible to the naked eye on a clear night.
Enjoy learning about what they can see up there. Where's the Southern Cross? Where are the planets? Where is the brightest star in the night sky? Everybody loves to learn about those things.
And if this has sparked your curiosity, you can find more information online. Jessie Gilmour, Southern Cross News.
Now a look at business and finance with thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund. The Australian share market has closed higher after a strong lead from US stocks, and with more investors looking to the share market as a potentially better alternative to property. The ASX 200 index rose 25.4 points. And a short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 80.88 US cents and 110.33 New Zealand cents.
Richie Porte will have another crack at the Tour de France despite last year's horror crash which could have ended his career. The Tasmanian cycling champion was back in Launceston today to throw his support behind another significant event.
Still carrying with him the mental scars from the spill which shattered his 2017 Tour de France hopes, Porte is gearing up for another big year ahead.
I'll start off in Europe in Tirreno Adriatico in Italy, and then Tour of Romandy in Switzerland, and then have a baby. My wife's having a baby in May, so it's probably the biggest challenge this year.
Having recently fallen just short of becoming the first person to clinch back-to-back Tour Down Under titles, Porte says he's happy with where he's at on the bike.
Disappointing to be so close to the overall win, but to win a stage after the crash I had last year in the Tour de France, you know, it was a good outcome.
But today's focus was all about a ride of a different kind, with the country's most respected road rider returning as the ambassador for March's Western Tiers Cycle Challenge.
You know, it's nice to be able to put back into the community a little bit.
The annual charity ride raising funds for sport and recreation programs for Tasmanians living with a disability.
We did it a couple of years ago and he really enjoyed it, and it's just fantastic to be able to take him along on the bike and give him the same opportunity that anybody else can. Joel sits there and I encourage him to pedal, and he does occasionally. Yeah.
See the struggles that other people face in day-to-day life. It really sums up that, you know, for me, you know, able-bodied and everything, it's, you know, it's not such a big deal.
Following the birth of his child, Port will begin ramping up preparations for July's Tour de Suisse and Tour de France.
And finally in sport, next month's Hobart Cup is shaping up to be a fiercely contested one, with Tasmanian horse Fastnet Dragon rocketing home in the Wait for Age Summer Cup in Hobart overnight. The Charlie Goggin-trained gelding fighting his way back from the rear of the field with 800 metres to go, beating out GG's Golden Girl and last year's Hobart and Launceston Cup winner Up Cups. The Hobart Cup runs on Sunday, February 11.
Good evening. Things changed a bit today. Hobart 26, Launceston 32, Burnie 27 and Devonport 25. We had 35 at Fingal and Flinders Island with some temperatures up to 10 above average before that change that brought some rain and triggered a thunderstorm over the southwest. Cape Sorel had 12 mils to 9 a.m. and since then 16 millimetres the top fall at Low Rocky Point. St Helens 34 today, Ooze 32, Friendly Beaches 30, Scottsdale 29, Grove reached 28, Wynyard 27 and Lyre Weenie 26. Now, a bit of cloud on the map for a change. The cloud with the embedded thunderstorms extends right across the nation, in fact, through Western Australia and Tasmania. The monsoon trough is active over northern Australia. Patchy convective cloud is also evident scattered over the mainland. Closer up and there's the band of cloud in all its glory over the state today. Tomorrow a ridge extends over Tasmania while the cold front moves to the east. A trough extends from that to a low back over WA. Winds southwest to southerly at 10 to 20 knots, reaching 20 to 30 knots over the northwest and northeast during the morning. Swells at 2 metres. Strong wind warning from Sandy Cape to Stanley and from Cape Portland to Wineglass Bay. A road weather alert for most Tasmanian roads for tomorrow. Normally the case after a dry spell's broken by a bit of rain. Showers easing from Hobart tomorrow, 19 the top, 18 for Adventure Bay and just 15 for Tarraleah. For Launceston, rain easing, 21 the maximum, 21 for Devonport, rain easing from Bridport, a top of 20. For Burnie, early rain and 21 degrees, a shower or two for Strawn and 18, 19 the top for Marrawar. And in the east, some rain easing, St Helens 19, just 17 for Swansea and Whitemark 20 degrees, a stark difference to a day or two ago. And the UV is extreme once more across the state. On Wednesday, showers over the west, south and east, but fine elsewhere. A shower again over the west and south on Thursday, partly cloudy but fine for the rest of the state. A shower over the south and east on Friday. In fact, a few showers for Hobart right through until Sunday is the current forecast. Sunny in Perth tomorrow and 30, partly cloudy for Adelaide. Morning rain in Melbourne, mostly sunny in Sydney. A shower or two for Brisbane. Cloudy in Hobart at the moment, 18. 23 degrees in Launceston. Right now in Devonport it's cloudy and 22. That's it from me, Joe. Too much Monday-itis going on for me to continue.
I know, way too much. Thank you very much, Merv. Well, that's all from the team for now. Have a great evening. We will, of course, see you with updates. Bye for now.